This is Jordan Edwards, and this is the Business Jiu Jitsu Podcast. All right, I'm here with Deborah Gracie. We just had an amazing class learning the fundamentals with you and your father. It's an honor to be here at your school.
Same, it's an honor to have you guys here too.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, let me set this up for everybody a little bit. So I'm starting a project called Business Jiu Jitsu. Business Jiu Jitsu is a book and a podcast. And the essence of the book is about the principles that are shared between martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and life. And I started thinking about this book. You know, I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for just about 11 years. And when I started doing jiu-jitsu, it was my outlet. After work, I would come, I would go to the dojo, and I would learn. And for the first few years, it was just getting my butt kicked over and over and over again. And it was so humbling. But the lessons that I was learning on the mat, I found were directly applied to all the things that I was doing in my work and in my business. And I'm encountering these situations in life, and I feel like I'm doing jiu-jitsu. It's the craziest thing. And that's not so clear when you're a beginner. But as you progress on through jiu-jitsu, you say, sometimes the metaphor of having all that pressure on top of you and somebody in your face, and in the beginning it's so stressful, but then you're taught a technique and you learn that technique, and what used to be so scary becomes so easy.
Yeah.
And so the concept behind Business Jiu-Jitsu was to talk to influential people in business, influential people in jiu-jitsu, and learn from them and say, here you are having so much success being a black belt. Here you are having so much success as a business person, a woman in business, an entrepreneur, writing books. How does that journey start for you? Where are you from?
So I'm from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and I'm a Gracie from my mom's side. My mom is Carlos Gracie's granddaughter. My father is Marcio Stembolski, which is he's now a red and white belt, so that means 38 years as a black belt. So I grew up in Jiu-Jitsu, not only from the Gracie side of my mom, but my dad as well, and my brother too. So
and your brother is Neiman Gracie, Bellator
Neiman
fighter.
Gracie, Bellator fighter. Yeah. So he's been doing this since forever too. When I was a kid, I used to play a lot of jiu-jitsu. I was a yellow belt. Then when I was a teenager, didn't like too much. I like to surf too.
Yeah.
So I recall sometimes I leave the home with my surfboard under the arm and my brother with his gi.
Yeah.
And he's always pushing me, hey, you gotta come to jiu-jitsu too. You gotta know how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You know. So and then when my father moved back to America in 2006. I fell in love with Jiu-Jitsu again, and then I started helping him and teaching since I was a blue belt, because back then there was not too many people like graduating in Jiu-Jitsu, so I used to help since then, the kids and everything.
Yeah.
And what is fun is that like when we were kids, my brother and my father, sometimes they get somebody from the family, like a cousin of mine or a friend, and they say, hey, put your gi on today, you're gonna train.
Yeah.
And they put me in real bad situations, you know, because like they bring a cousin of mine and like, let's go train. Then the cousin mount on me and I didn't know, I was struggling to get out, I don't know what to do. And they say, you see, you gotta train. And then that pushed me a lot to at least know how to defend myself in the little situations of life too.
Yeah,
you know?
and you probably know, starting a business
Yeah.
can most of the time feel like you have top pressure, somebody on top of you at all times.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Jiu-Jitsu for me is very similar to life. I like to assimilate Jiu-Jitsu to life in everything. So like if I'm teaching a class, I can know a lot about a person just to see how they behave in class. Yeah. I can see, oh, that guy like pays attention, that guy is good in life, he like takes life seriously, or like, oh my god, that guy, he needs to work a little more, not only on the mats, but outside too.
Yeah, that's an
You
amazing
know?
point.
Yeah.
It is true, you know, people, the way that they do jujitsu is the way that they live their lives.
Exactly.
If they are high
Yeah.
energy and snazzy, that's usually the way they're living their life
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
If they're slow and methodical,
Yeah,
one of the
you
things
can tell a lot, you know, about a person just by looking at them in a jiu-jitsu class. In 1 hour, you can tell a lot about a person just by jiu-jitsu helps, you know, because as you said, for me, jiu-jitsu is very related to life.
yes.
You know, so some things like that, you learn how to deal with a struggling situation. You have to know how to breathe. I think the first good technique you actually learn in jiu-jitsu is learn how to spend energy properly. So I always tell my students, like, don't move without a purpose.
Yes.
You know, you always have to move with purpose. So why I would be like exploding, wasting energy when I don't need to? I think the same in life, in everything, relationship, business, family.
Yeah, when you do things with intention, it makes it so much more successful.
Yeah,
You know, when you do something in business with all of your heart and it's well thought out, it has a way of coming back to you with dividends, and it keeps giving you those dividends over and over and over again. In business, when you do something with half your heart, or you don't really agree, you're not fully in it, it has a way of failing on you.
yeah, exactly. First thing, you have to love what you do, cause that's what motivation is. You know, sometimes I see those motivational speeches and books. I think that's not very good, because some days you wake up, you're not into doing that, right? Like, I don't feel like doing that, but you have to do it because you have a goal to fulfill or something. So if you really love, you have a goal, you have that passion. Some days when you're not into that, you're gonna go and do it no matter what.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know David Goggins, the former Navy
Yes,
SEAL?
I started reading a book about him.
Yeah.
I didn't finish, I'm still in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I saw about his early life, very hard. You know, the father used to beat him up,
Yes,
and the
exactly.
mom, and
Yeah.
I have to finish reading that book. But
He talks about what you just said all the time,
oh yeah,
which is that you don't always feel motivated.
yeah,
You know, motivation is not the thing that you need to rely on.
yeah,
You have to get up and go to work every single day,
yeah.
even when you don't
no
have
matter
motivation.
what. Yeah,
And I think that's been really key in my jiu-jitsu too,
Yeah.
because I wasn't a natural athlete growing up. I always played sports, I love sports, but people sometimes are just way more athletic than I am. They can pick it up faster. So my journey with jiu-jitsu has just been a relentless daily grind of showing up more than anybody else,
Yeah.
and just being that guy who's always on the mat and just wanting to learn.
yeah. That's I usually tell my students that you can only progress in jiu-jitsu by showing up to the classes. There's nothing else you can do. Go work out in the gym, this and that. Nothing that. Some things help, of course, but the thing that will most help you and make you grow in jiu-jitsu is go showing up to class and doing your job inside the mats.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have something in common. We're both work in a family business.
Uh-huh.
We both work with our fathers.
Yeah.
What's that experience like with
That's
you?
very amazing. You know, my father is a very sweet guy, and he's very experienced too. We come from a family of how do you say in English, commerciants, like people that deal with commerce.
Yes,
You
of
know,
course. Yes.
so I always,
Businessman.
since I was like a teenager, I always play with that. I come from the cast of the commerciants.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I always learn how to sell things, and but I like to have a good product too, as my father says about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So he knows a lot about business, and in his vision, jiu-jitsu is a very good product. You know, I think we just talked about that in the class we just did now.
Yeah, we took a fantastic class led by you and your father. Your father is a legend in the sport, of course. He's incredibly well known as one of Holz's 5 students,
Yes.
5 black belts.
Yeah.
And and then you guys are right here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I mean, I drove out here from New York City today,
Uh-huh.
and you drive 1 hour and you can get world-class instruction. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. So my father comes from Deborah Gracie, which is a cousin of mine, and he unfortunately passed away when he was very young, on his 30s. I think he was 33 years old, and he only took 5 or 6 students to the black belt level, and one of them is my dad, which is a big knowledge, you know, to be under halls. he was considered to be one of the best Gracies because he also brought other sports into Jiu-Jitsu, so like wrestling. He was very open-minded, so he didn't stick only to the Jiu-Jitsu techniques.
Yeah.
So that also helped Jiu-Jitsu growing a lot in the world. You know, there was a story about the wrestler guy, I forgot his name right now, but they used to wrestle together, and then he gave some Jiu-Jitsu tips to the wrestling guys and some wrestling techniques to Jiu-Jitsu too, which is amazing. You know, and that's it. So Jiu-Jitsu is a great product because it's something that we help people. You know, it's a business that we can help the whole community. I believe a lot in that. Sometimes if I change the life of one kid, I change the life of their parents and like the whole family, and then this becomes the whole community, the whole state, the whole country.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
That's
very amazing.
really amazing. And you spent a lot of time working with young women in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, that's a very good example, because I imagine in a Muslim country, you know, little girls playing Jiu-Jitsu is something we could never imagine to happen before. And the Sheikh is a very visionary man, because he saw the power of Jiu-Jitsu of changing the whole world. And he's doing that to his country. He started with his son.
Yes.
He was a very shy kid and had a lot of self-confident problems. And he met my Uncle Renzo, and his son started doing Jiu-Jitsu. And in a short period of time, he changed, you know, he became another kid. A lot, very confident and everything. And the Sheikh, oh my God, this was so good for my son.
Yes.
I want this for my whole country, all the kids in my country.
Yes.
So now there is like they want to become a national sport, Jiu-Jitsu in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
And it's in all public schools as a subject, like math, science, we have Jiu-Jitsu too. So I was a school teacher there.
Yes.
Which is amazing. It's very, very impressive, and we can see already they are doing this project for almost 10 years now, I think. Yeah. And there are a lot of changes in the country for sure. The girls, you know, they're very confident. They have this religious thing; they cannot touch each other, but they are open-minded too. They're starting to open their minds a little more about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of little champions over there. The girls are really hard fighters. They go for war, and it's amazing.
It really is incredible. My sensei is a black belt under Renzo and John Danaher. And I've met Renzo many times. He is an incredible person.
Amazing.
You know, when that guy gives you a hug, it's like you're the only person he's ever met before. Same thing with your dad and you. The Brazilians have this way of making you feel at home when you come to the academy. It's really special. Well,
and sorry to cut you, but I think it's not Brazilians. That's the Jiu-Jitsu true spirit. You know, we are Jiu-Jitsu professors. We have to bring this feeling to everyone around us. You know, like being happy, being positive, always like smiling and saying good things to people. My great-grandfather Carlos Gracie was known for that. Like everyone I meet that met him before, they say that, oh my God, your great-grandfather was so amazing. Every time I met him on the street, he always had good words to say about me. You know, he could maybe say, oh, you're a bad guy, you didn't know, but only good things, you know, which is amazing.
It is incredible, and what your family has done for martial arts is, it has changed and revolutionized all of martial arts and fighting for everything that's happened in history up until this point. What they've done over the past 100 or so years is just incredible. I know I'm so grateful for what your family has done, and you're just the ambassadors of this martial art. And I travel a lot for work. I travel all over the country, and whenever I go on vacation, I always bring my gi, I bring my rash guard, and I show up to a gym. And no matter where I am, I could be in Texas, I could be in Florida, I could be California, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica. It's like I know these people my whole life.
Yes.
You know, as soon as you start training with somebody,
you have
within
a
a few
family
minutes,
now everywhere in the world. No matter where you go, it's family there for sure.
It really, it's such a beautiful thing, and not all martial arts are like that. There's something special about Jiu-Jitsu, especially that it's the tapping and it's the practicing. You know, people often ask me, because they know I do martial arts, about other arts, and I say I have nothing wrong with any of the other arts, but there's something about jujitsu. You practice doing jujitsu every time you do it,
Yeah.
so you know you can do it.
Yeah.
In some of these self-defenses, other self-defenses, you don't know that you can do a technique because you're just going through the kata. You don't know if you can actually apply it. An armbar. How many tens of thousands of arm bars have I done?
Yeah. It's very humbling, right?
Very humbling.
Like a little girl can submit a big guy. Doesn't matter. When I teach my self-defense classes, I always say that. Doesn't matter how big and strong the guy is. We can, for sure, if he doesn't know jiu-jitsu, we need to defend ourselves. We can always like submit him and you know, get a good thing.
I have some of my teammates who are women who fight in Invicta. I have a good friend in the team, Tanisha Tennant. She's fighting in the upcoming Invicta 8-woman tournament. I see her beat up big guys all the time.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And sometimes we have these like soldiers, policemen, prison guards, and that we have a lot of those kind of guys in our gym. So they bring their friends down, and they think they're going to beat everybody up.
Yeah.
And then instead of being put with a big guy like me or one of the pro athletes, they
Yeah.
say, "Why don't you try rolling with this young woman?"
Yeah.
And they're choking them out, and
Yeah.
they can't. Their ego can't handle it. They never come back.
Yeah, technique is everything, right? So you don't need to spend too much energy or be strong, but if you apply the right technique, same for business too, I believe.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be successful, you know. So, and it's very humbling too, the fact that like a big guy is gonna be tap out to a small girl or a little guy. I always say that to my students too, because you get to the school, it's very humbling, you know. No matter what, sometimes you reach a good level. The highest level athletes, they tap out in the school every day to other guys too. So you never stop learning. You never stop getting beat up too. If you think, oh, I'm gonna be a black belt, never gonna tap out anymore, that's a lie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you just said, which I want to echo, is about the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Today in the class, we did a fundamentals class. It was myself, one of your other students, I believe, and maybe 10 chiropractors.
Yeah.
It was their first
My
time ever
chiropractor,
doing
they take
jiu-jitsu.
good care of me, and I'll try to teach them some things too.
And we did this day one jiu-jitsu, which for me was so special because how often do I get to stop and have that class with all beginners? And it was just, again, a humbling and beautiful to go back. And even the way that when your dad opened the class, he spoke about how Carlos went to the circus and was learning from Count Maeda,
Yeah.
and then hearing these stories right from the source, like 1 degree away from Rio de Janeiro. It's very beautiful. So when you have these fundamentals in business, I always tell my teams, you can't control what your competitors do. You can't control the weather. You can't control if your customers show up that day or not. The only things you can control are the things that you do, and those are the fundamentals.
Yeah.
How clean is your bathroom?
Exactly.
Do you have good stock? You know, do you have all the sizes of the E's?
Yeah.
Are the mats immaculately clean?
If you're ready inside to teach, if you have a good method too, that's very important. You know, for the white belts, sometimes they get thrown at some other schools that don't take very good care of the basics and the fundamentals. Sometimes they're gonna give up, you know, because it's too hard. They don't understand the concept, and then and that's bad for jiu-jitsu too, for the business of the whole jiu-jitsu community. Because if one person has a bad experience with jiu-jitsu, they probably never gonna come back. They're never gonna recommend to other people too.
That's right.
So it's very important to have like a good program on your school, you know, so you take care of the white belts.
Yep.
Back in Brazil, people used to treat white belts as garbage. Oh, you're a white belt, go and clean the mats.
Yeah.
You're a white belt, pay 10 push-ups. You know, that's not the way. The white belts are the best part of the school because they're gonna help the school grow, and they're gonna bring more people, you know.
Absolutely.
So, and they are people too. We should treat everyone equally and like respecting everyone, you know.
And when you're in a smaller academy or a new academy, it's mostly white belts and then some blue belts. The higher that you progress in jiu-jitsu, the fewer and fewer. I mean, how many black belts are there in the world? There's not that
Not
many.
too many.
How many brown belts are there in the world? there's not too many.
Yeah.
There's a lot of white belts.
Yeah.
You know, the million people that do jiu-jitsu in the U.S., the vast majority of them are white belts and blue belts. And so.
And for me, the hardest part and the best part about this is like, it's very easy, right? Comes a very athletic guy into your door.
Yeah.
That's the easiest part. It's very easy to make him become an athlete and a good jiu-jitsu player.
Yeah.
But the hardest and best part of jiu-jitsu, being a professor, is like changing the life of somebody who is really struggling with themselves, with some other problems in life, with their business, their families, this and that. So jiu-jitsu, I always say that too, is very interesting because it can go deep inside. Don't matter which problem each person has, jiu-jitsu will go there and help them.
Absolutely.
You know, in every aspect of life. So it's really amazing. I love it.
So what are your plans for the business? You've just opened up your second academy, which is where we are today.
Yeah.
What
So
are the
my
plans?
father has this school in Norwalk, Connecticut, USA for 13 years now.
Yep.
And I've been helping him since then with the managing and everything. And I always get more and more excited too about the business part.
Yeah.
And so I spent 2 years in Abu Dhabi, I just came back, and now I thought I was like ready to try my own thing too. My father is my partner, and it's very interesting, you know. It's like, in the beginning very hard, everything, you know, about finding a good location. You start with 0 students, you know. Some people they like to take students from other schools, something that I don't think is very nice.
Yes.
I know it's very good. You build your wall with your own bricks. Don't take bricks out of nobody, you know.
Beautifully said.
And that's a very day by day work. You know, you cannot. There's nothing you can achieve something without going step by step.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's what we're doing right now. We are up to 6 or 7 months in our new school.
That's great.
And it's a day by day work. You know, we have a very good staff too, which I think is the most important thing in a business. Also finding the right people to be with you. They have to believe in the same vision that you have, and I believe in you. Everybody have to be friends, you know, because sometimes in a business environment, people fighting each other, and I don't believe in that. I don't like that thing. I like everybody as a team, as a team, trying to work together. Yeah. Everybody can have some things that you don't have, so that you make a whole part, and then it becomes better for everyone.
Yeah, the people and the environment, not only with the students but with the staff, it's so important.
Yeah.
One of our business values at my company, Mixology, is we treat our people like customers.
Yeah.
So not just customers. When you treat the people who help you with your business every day like a customer, they know how to treat the people around them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's really, really beautiful.
And it's the same thing as I say, when we are professors, we have to treat everyone the same. Like Hansel too, he's an amazing example of that. Doesn't matter if the guy lives on the street or is like the sheikh, he's gonna treat everyone the same. You know, because that's the real jiu-jitsu spirit.
Yes.
And that's how we should treat not only our students, but our staff members who are our collaborators. How do you say that?
Which one?
Like they are our associates.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they help us make the dream happen. So I say, the dream makes the team makes the dream come true. Sorry, sometimes the words come out of my mouth.
Well, good. That's a really good segue.
Yeah.
So you wrote a book called Respect. For those listening that don't understand what respect means, that's respect.
Yeah.
And in Portuguese, they pronounce the R with
That's
H.
how Brazilians supposedly pronounce the word respect, you know, respect, because the letter H in Brazil is like the letter R here.
Yeah, and I started, flipping through the pages of this book before the interview today, and it's so funny how many words I recognize.
Yeah.
I don't even realize that I know them just because of being on the jiu-jitsu mats for so many years, but this is such a great book, especially if you're going to be traveling or you're going to be doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You can learn all the vernacular and the words.
It's a whole different universe, you know. You cannot find some of those words in a regular dictionary.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea came from, you know. So like the jiu-jitsu practitioners can learn a little bit about our language, which translates to our culture too. because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is also culture.
Yes.
You know, so that's the idea. I'm not an English professional. Sometimes people, oh, I wrote a book, how come you forget this word and that word?
Yeah.
I'm not a professional in English, but
Yeah.
I know Portuguese and a little bit of English, so I could manage to make this happen.
Yeah. Now, it's very well written, and it's pretty technical too.
Yeah.
So
It's a little bit funny too.
Yeah,
Make
very
some
funny.
words.
Who helped you put this book together?
So my father and a friend of mine called Pedro Dadario, he's one of our students too for a long time, and we've been brainstorming this for many years. Sometimes we get together, we say, oh, creonte, well, where does this word come from? And then we started writing down. And then in a few years, we had a big material in like a Word document file, and we didn't know what to do. And then, oh, let's get together and let's make a book happen. And that's how it came out,
Yeah.
you know.
Great.
We have some
I
funny
love that.
quotes in Brazil too, and then we try to translate so the American people can come a little bit closer to our culture.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
I wrote this book, This Is It, last year, and this podcast is research for my new book, Business Jiu-Jitsu. But
Very interesting.
before I wrote this book, I encouraged my dad to write a book, and the way that he wrote his first book was that he had started blogging. And he was blogging in 2008 during the big global recession that we had. And it was messages of hope and enthusiasm and positivity going out to all my friends. And he had no interest in writing a book. But I took all of his blog posts and I made a coffee table book for him and presented it to him as a gift.
Wow,
And he
amazing.
said, wow, this is incredible. And I said, Dad, what you wrote is really beautiful. And that is what set us on the journey to writing these books.
Nice.
And this last book that we wrote together, This Is It, it was one of the best experiences of my life. You know, working on it for almost 2 years, every single day with my dad. I'll never forget it. And
Yeah.
this book is all about our successes and our failures. And we've been incredible. My dad has had an unbelievable career in business. My grandfather had an unbelievable career in business. And the first 11 years of my career, I've been in business now for 11 years. Thank God, I've been very, very successful.
Nice.
And the way that I found success was truly by reading books.
Me too. That's very important too, I think, part in business.
Yeah.
Reading a lot of books because you open your mind, you get to know new things that you never heard about, never knew it was possible.
Yeah.
So that's very important too. Very interesting, your book. You just gave it to me. I'm very excited about reading too.
Yeah.
And as you said, your father wrote some very interesting things. Sometimes we have to put into words and write it down because sometimes we can lose it forever.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
very,
It's
very
funny that you
nice.
say that. So one of my business associates, a guy that works for me, his name is Abdal. He's going to be my business partner in a new business I'm starting. And he read my book. He was one of the first people to read it. And he said that the thing that touched him the most was that he lost his father when he was in college. His father passed away. And he said that he wished that his father put into words all the things that he knew so he could take it with him.
Yeah.
And I just had a son 16 months ago. I
Wow,
have a baby
congrats.
boy. And thank you very much. And just knowing that this is in the permanent record and that God forbid something happens to me, he will always have these words. And
It's forever now.
It's forever.
Yeah.
And that was a really special thing for me.
Very nice.
Yeah. So listen, this has been incredible. Coming to your school, hearing your story.
Thanks for coming. It's a pleasure to
It's a
have
true
you.
honor to have you. I know we're going to do this again. I can feel that we're going to. I'll absolutely come back and do some training and record some more podcasts.
It's an honor for me too. You know, your idea of the business jiu-jitsu is something very new, and I think everyone needs that because nobody, all the professors in jiu-jitsu, nobody is very professional into business. You know, it's just like a jiu-jitsu practitioner. They're like, oh, I'm gonna open a school.
Yep.
But the universe inside is not like, you know, it's like very deep, and you have to know things. So very nice. Congrats on your new project.
Thank
too.
you so much for being
It's
a part of
very
it and being one of my
interesting.
early supporters.
Thank you.
We have some really exciting people lined up to come on the podcast, and you as one of my first 5 guests.
Wow, thank you.
I'm just so excited to do the research for this. It's matching my passion for business and my passion for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
This is it's been so easy for me to do.
Yeah.
It's like, I haven't had to feel motivated to do anything because I'm just so excited to get it done. And,
it's very exciting, and it's just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
You know, like Jiu-Jitsu business is, if we think about it, it's just starting out. It's like it's not even crawling yet.
I know.
You know, it's just a little baby, and we need people like you to make it happen. And you know, if you think about the gyms, like fitness gyms, many years ago, you used not to be as it is now. You know, we had like people used to rent little rooms inside a building and start teaching. And now we see all over. It's so big, and that's the way Jiu-Jitsu is going to as well. So it's very interesting.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to say at closing?
That's all. I would like to thank you too for everything. It's a really honor to be here with you, and thank you so much.
The honor is truly mine. Thank you to you, and thank you to your dad for opening up your gym and having such great hospitality.
And come visit us more often,
I absolutely
whenever
will.
you can.
Thank
Okay? Thank you.